Hello everybody, my name is Radzi and you are joining thousands of schools around the world. But here in the studio, we're dressed up ready for a day at the races. Give us a cheer and a royal wave, everyone. Oh yes, indeed, because today's show is inspired by Clare Balding's new book, The Race Horse Who Wouldn't Gallop. And to find out what it's all about, we've got a short video for you. Do you want to watch it? Yeah! Of course you do. But first we need to get in the mood, so we're going to get into our best horse riding position. We're going to sit up straight. We're going to take the reins. We're going to make a cantering noise like this. And we're off!
Meet Charlie Bass, a horse-mad 10-year-old who dreams of owning a pony. So when her family gets a racehorse, she's thrilled. But her racehorse, Noble Warrior, won't gallop at all without his best friend Percy by his side. Can Charlie help to train Noble Warrior and Percy the pony in time for the big race? As the derby approaches, only Charlie can save the day. Find out what happens in The Racehorse Who Wouldn't Gallop by me, Clare Balding. Out now.
And what a book it is. Awesome. And in fact, see how many times you can spot Noble Warrior during the show, because he'll be popping up in the corner of your screens. Well, today's show is all about being the best you can be and finding your inner champion, just like Charlie and Noble Warrior do. But to tell us more, would you please make an incredible amount of noise for a woman who's essentially the face of Paralympics and the Olympics in this country. It's Clare Balding.
Look at all of you.
Clare, welcome to Puffin Live.
Loving the hats. Everybody looks so smart. Hello.
We are all very excited to find out about your new book,
Yeah.
The Racehorse Who Wouldn't Gallop. What can you tell us about it? Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea came from knowing racehorses, actually, who don't fancy galloping. And, you know, sometimes we're all like that. You might not fancy working hard on certain days at school, but that's what you're meant to be doing. I think it's quite interesting when you see people like Adam Peaty, who's an Olympic swimming champion. He was scared of water as a child. So I'm quite interested in this concept of being nervous about something or not wanting to do it, and it's the thing you're meant to be doing.
And we know that Percy the pony is instrumental in helping Noble Warrior to actually race. But Charlie is also important as well. In fact, Flora's got a question for us about her.
Hello, my name's Flora and I went to ask Claire if she was like Charlie when she was growing up.
How cute is Flora?
Flora's my niece, and actually Charlie's a bit more like her.
Really?
Because Charlie has two older brothers, Harry and Larry, who are pretty awful and who tease her and won't let her join in their games because she's a girl. And Flora's got two older brothers, Jono and Toby, who aren't as bad as Harry and Larry, but they do tease her. And she was Flora was the inspiration for Charlie, so there's a bit of her in the character. But also, I guess, a bit of me. I think, like Charlie, I didn't feel that I fitted in at school particularly. I felt a bit left out. I didn't think I wore the right clothes and my hair wasn't right and all those things that you can often feel when you go to a new school. And I loved being around animals. So when I was with horses or dogs, I was really happy. I just was a bit more uncomfortable with human beings.
I think I kind of know. I think we all relate to that to a greater or lesser extent, but you've tantalised us. You've teased us a little bit. Can we hear you read an excerpt?
Yeah, I'll read a bit. So all you need to know is that Harry and Larry are awful. And that the farm where they live with their parents is in big trouble because they've got all these cows, they've got a dairy herd, and the price of milk keeps going down. So their dad is really, really struggling to make any money, and the kids have to come up with an idea to try and save the farm. Now, the boys suggest things like teaching the chickens how to dance and then charging people for tickets to come and watch the show, which they would call Strictly Come Chicken Dancing. And Charlie suggests buying a racehorse. And she says, because I've read about this race at Epsom called the Derby, and it's worth £1 million to the winner. And if we could get a horse and we could maybe help him reach his potential, he could win the Derby, and then we wouldn't have any money problems. And her parents say, no, that's a terrible idea. But this is the morning after she suggested that. The next morning was a Saturday, and at breakfast, the boys were on typical form. Harry grabbed at the toast as soon as it was put on the table, buttering one slice with his right hand while snatching a second piece with his left. "That's mine too," he said, and then licked it to make sure before putting it back on the toast rack. "That's disgusting," said Charlie. Harry just grinned at her, while Larry took advantage of her distraction to whip away her cereal bowl and finish what was left. "You don't need any more food for those thighs." Charlie flushed red and ran her hands down the tops of her legs. "Boys," said their mum sternly, "that's enough. Get outside and do the pigs. You never know, you might learn something. Elvis and Doris have got better manners than you two animals." Mrs. Bass turned to her daughter. "Your father and I talked about it last night, and we couldn't see any harm in him taking you to the sale to have a look at the racehorses. Not to buy anything, mind, but to show him the sort of horse you're thinking about." Charlie's face broke into a grin. Maybe her dream had been an omen. Her day was about to get even better as her mother said, "Oh, and the boys can stay here. They'll be perfectly happy reenacting the Stone Age." Charlie couldn't understand the point of her brothers, apart from their ability to cause trouble. "And Charlie," said her mum, "don't take any notice of their teasing. You should be thankful for your legs." Charlie wasn't sure she was thankful at all. Her mum continued, "Boudicca, who led her tribe in rebellion against the Romans, Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, Queen Victoria, even the two most influential women today, Hillary Clinton and Angela Merkel. Do you know what they all have in common?" Charlie shook her head. "They all, every single one of them, have powerful legs. And what about Serena Williams and Beyonce?" Charlie was interested now. "Do you think they'd have got where they have with thin little legs? And that's before we even start on all your favourite riders. Do you really imagine you could win an Olympic gold medal in dressage or show jumping or eventing without powerful legs? Could you win the Grand National?" Charlie shook her head, but still said nothing. "No," said her mother, "you couldn't. So be proud of your legs, because they will take you far. They will hold you up when skinny legs collapse. Your brothers aren't exactly geniuses, so don't you listen to them." Charlie could see them through the window. Harry had grabbed Larry and was trying to judo throw him into the pig pen. Larry picked up a lump of what looked like pig poo and squashed it into Harry's face. A moment later, they were wrestling in the mud. "I don't understand, boys," Charlie said, as much to herself as to her mother.
What a wonderful read. Can we have a massive round of applause for Claire? Absolutely lovely. And don't forget, you can tweet your school shout out using the hashtag #ClaireBouldingShow. Now though, it's time for a video because our young reporter got to go down to Kingsclear, the very stables where Claire grew up, for the next video. But keep your eyes and your ears open because after the video, I want to know 3 things. What day do the horses at Kingsclear have off? What food do the horses at Kingsclear eat for extra protein? And we know that injured horses cannot be ridden, but what can they do?
So Toby and Johnny, you obviously have grown up in a racing yard, so you know loads of things about it. How are the horses looked after? What's their daily routine like?
They go out on the gallops Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And they get a day off on Sunday?
Most of them.
And what about their food?
Their food, they get power nuts, which have more protein than normal nuts, and
How many meals a day?
they have 3 meals a day, like children.
Let's have a chat about the different things here at the yard that we've got, because we've got stables, and what else is here?
There's a tack room. There is a swimming pool where the horses go swimming.
The horses actually swim.
The horses actually swim. If they're injured, you can't ride them, but if they're injured, they can swim.
How many different gallops are there?
Well, there are 4 down here, in the Locksong, the Peat Moss, the Far Hedge and the Near Hedge. Up on the downs, there are so many that my head bursts. There's the 7, the left-hand side, the side glance, the round, the valley, and only very few of those are still in use.
Thank you both very much for all the information you've given, and hopefully anyone who's read the book and listened to what you have to say will be more interested in racing because of it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Well, we are very interested because of it. And in fact, over to your audience actually, because 3 questions, 3 answers. What can injured horses do? What day do horses have to chill out on? You're very good. And what do horses eat for extra protein? You are very clever indeed. Well, now though, Claire's book is all about working hard to do your very best and being determined. But Claire, why is it that Charlie is so determined to win the Derby?
I think she has an incredible inner drive, and I think also she's very conscious of other people, and she has this great understanding of animals. And she wants to bring the best out of other people. So she isn't one of those people who's very intent on just her own performance, and it's not, her world doesn't just revolve around her. She's not selfish. She believes in teamwork, and she wants to get everybody working to the best of their ability. Now, that might be her awful brothers, that might be her mum and dad, that might be her friend Polly, or it might be Noble Warrior, or indeed it might be Percy, who is frankly quite greedy, he's quite selfish and a little bit aggressive.
You've kind of described, apart from the aggressive bit, an Olympic attitude. You worked at the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. What is it you love so much about them?
I love seeing people who've worked really hard for what they've got, and I love seeing them perform under pressure, and I'm always amazingly impressed that they can go out there in front of an audience of millions watching on telly, but also a live audience of thousands of people. And take someone like Max Whitlock, who could go out there and in the space of about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, win 2 gold medals up against the best opposition in the world. And the amazing thing is Max Whitlock or Amy Tinkler, who won a bronze medal at the age of 16, or the Brownlee brothers, or Andy Murray, or Johnny Peacock, or Cadena Cox, or Ellie Simmons, they weren't born with extra special talent. They didn't have a jet engine, you know, attached to their legs to make them run or swim faster. They're just like all of us. And yet they're really committed to what they do. And I love that. I think it is the ultimate reward for hard work and for doing the boring stuff every single day for those rare moments of glory. So I love the fact that at the Olympics and the Paralympics, they get the glory.
They really do indeed. How many of you watched the Olympics this summer? So lots of you, which is fantastic. And I know some of you even have a question to Claire about the Olympics.
Do you enjoy presenting the Olympics and why?
I love presenting the Olympics, and once every 4 years, I know that people are watching who wouldn't necessarily watch sport week in, week out. And you get new stars coming along every 4 years, so suddenly there will be somebody you've never heard of. Did you watch the Paralympics?
Yes.
And do you remember that there was a very young swimmer called Ellie Robinson, 15-year-old, and she's studying for her GCSEs. She goes to Northampton High School, and she's the one that came out with her arms like that. Everybody said it was the big gangster entrance. And actually it was because her swimming costume, her racing costume, was really tight. And then she had a big coat on over the top of that with a hood. And then she had a rucksack on her back, so she meant to put her arms up in the air, but she couldn't. So she just came with her arms out like that and thought, style it out.
Brilliant.
Style it out. So suddenly you get a really, brand new person you've never seen before, and they shine. And I love that. And I like the variety of sports. And for me, it's like taking an exam every single day, but taking that exam in my favourite subject. So I love it.
Do you have any other questions? Yes.
When you were little, who inspired you in the Olympics to ride a horse?
I had my heroine, my sort of equestrian heroine, was a 3-day event rider called Lucinda Green. She was originally called Lucinda Pryor Palmer, then she got married, was called Lucinda Green. And she won badminton horse trials 6 times on 6 different horses. And I just thought she was incredible. She was so brave riding cross country. And eventing, show jumping, dressage, all the equestrian sports, you compete on level terms. So men and women compete against each other with no favours done and no head start given and no allowances. And she was better than everybody. She was better than the men, and she was better than all the other women. And I loved that. I thought she was really impressive.
So you might have to really get your thinking cap on for this next question. You'll see why. It's from Katinka.
Hello, my name's Katinka, and I would like to ask Claire, who was your hero or champion growing up?
So we heard one of your heroes. Do you have another Olympic hero or Paralympic hero?
Well, I would say that actually Andy Murray would be pretty near the top of my list. I am lost in admiration for the fact that year in, year out, he almost starts again from zero. And you know, Andy Murray says that every day he thinks he fails. And for me, he's probably the most successful British sportsman there's ever been. But he thinks in his head every day he fails, and he's not frightened of that. And I think that can teach us all a lot, that actually you've got to go out there and try your best and not be frightened of failing. And you look at what he's done this year, and he's won Wimbledon for the second time. He's retained his Olympic title as well, and he's trying to catch Novak Djokovic to become the #1 tennis player in the world. He's already done things that no British tennis player has done since the 1930s, or no male British tennis player, I should say. But he is continuing to set himself new goals and pushing himself harder, so I think he's pretty remarkable.
Well, Claire knows lots of Olympic heroes, lots of Paralympic heroes, but how many can you recognise? So we're going to take a look at these photos, and I want you to call out the names of the people that you see. Let's see picture number 1. Picture number 2. Oh, we'll come back to that one. Picture number 3. Picture number 4. Picture number 5. Well done indeed. So there was a bit of hesitation on the second picture.
Yeah, you didn't get Nick Skelton. He was the oldest of the British gold medal winners in Rio this summer. He won the show jumping individual gold medal at the age of 58. And all your parents will remember Nick Skelton competing in Olympic Games, because essentially for most of my life he's been trying to win an individual medal, and he finally did it this summer.
It is absolutely incredible. But let us know your heroes by tweeting at @PuffinBooks using the hashtag #ClareBouldingShow. Well, Claire, you've spoken a lot about animals and about heroes, but what about Joe the jockey?
Oh, Joe is a lovely character in this book. He grew up in a sort of racing environment, and then his father had a very bad fall on the Gallops in Newmarket and got killed. And his mother moved Joe away from Newmarket. She didn't want him around racehorses. And obviously she was very, very upset, and so was he. And they went down to live near Charlie and her family, and he's working on the farm, and he's milking all the cows with her dad. Now, if, for example, just say that Charlie had by mistake bought a racehorse, and that racehorse had come to live on the farm, who would possibly get to ride the racehorse? Because Harry and Larry can't do it. Charlie would be a bit young, and that's what you'll have to read the book to find out.
Okay, that was a hook right there. Well, with that in mind, we sent our Puffin roving reporter Toby to find out more about what it takes to be a jockey and how practice really does make perfect.
Hello, my name is Toby and I am interviewing Michael, a jockey from Parkhouse Stables. Do you ride whatever the weather?
Yes, indeed. You can ride in the sun, which is fantastic. The rain, which is not so good. Snow, thunderstorms, whatever the weather, we still go out in the mornings and ride the horses out. And
What type of fitness do you have to do?
well, we have to undergo a lot of training, so we try to keep off weights because we don't want to put on too much muscle because muscle's heavy. So a lot of running endurance to keep you fit. We do a lot of balance work, simulators, which is like a pretend horse that we have to push out for a certain amount of time to work on our fitness again.
I'm here with Macadang Dang. What do you think of the book? Is it really important how you sit on a horse?
Yes, so obviously your balance comes in, which is coming from your feet here and your legs. So you want to keep your heels to the floor, and you want a nice even level back. And it's all to do with balance and fitness. So when you're riding, heels down is a major part, and keeping your legs nice and bent, back straight, and head always looking between the ears of the horse.
Michael, you're now wearing what you would in a race. Please talk me through it.
Starting from the top, we have a really light hat silk with a pair of goggles to protect our eyes as well. Lightweight hats that are very safe, obviously. Every owner have different colour silks per their horse, so these are very light as well. We have light breeches, and our boots weigh next to nothing as well, very light. So everything's very light.
Why does everything need to be so light?
To give us a good chance of going really fast and hopefully winning.
Thank you so much, Michael, and good luck in your next race. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much indeed, Toby. In fact, I think Toby is such a fantastic presenter. We have to give him a round of applause. Well done, Toby. Well, our next question is by Rainier Catholic School from New Zealand, who asks, what made you write children's books?
Well, because I've got two nephews who you've seen now, Jono and Toby, and Flora, my niece, I wanted to write a book that they would enjoy reading. And I love children. I think children are very honest, but I think children also have great imaginations. And it seemed to me to be fun to be able to write something that would keep everybody entertained, show them something about a world that I know very well, but most people don't. And there are bits in it that I would say will be interesting as well as hopefully funny, bits that are quite sad, and dramatic. There's real drama in it as well. So for me, it was quite a challenge. You know, keep it moving, make it interesting, give the characters real depth.
Well, I've started the book and I cannot wait to finish it. I've actually got a question, and it's about the character names in your books. They are incredible. Can you tell us about them?
Well, the main characters are Charlie and Harry and Larry and Joe. So very, very simple, easy to remember names. But the animals obviously all have names as well. So Noble Warrior, I thought was a very, it gave him a bit of grandeur. He sounds like a race, doesn't he, Noble Warrior? But he's known as Noddy at home, because when you get to know them at home, they're a bit different. Percy is named after a pony we had when I was little, who was the naughtiest pony I'd ever met. And so that seemed a good name for a naughty pony. And then the cows all have names. And the cows were named by the children and by their parents. So sometimes they have quite literary names like Moll Flanders or Jane Eyre. But then a couple of them have names like Taylor Swift and Madonna. And the cow that always wants to be milked first is called Princess Anne, because she wants to be at the front of the queue.
Of course.
And then the boys named a couple of them, and they called one of them Windy Bottom.
Now it's over to you, audience. Does anybody here have any funny pet stories they can tell, but in just one sentence? Yes.
I have a dog, and before we left, we locked the door, and when we came back, the door was unlocked, and it was my dog.
He'd unlocked the door?
Yes.
What kind of dog?
He is a Jack Russell crossed with a Pomeranian.
Clever, clever, but only little. So he probably had to pull a chair over, get on top of the chair, and then unlock the door. That's real genius.
What? Genuine genius.
Or climb a ladder. Because you see, he'd only be very little.
Yes, what's your question? Or rather, what's your story?
When I went to France, we went to a pony club, but one of the horses, whenever anybody went on it, they just sit and wouldn't move.
Actually sit on the grass?
Yes.
That is amazing. You see, again, though, that's that idea of animals having their own ideas of what they want to do and what they don't want to do. And I've seen racehorses at the beginning of a race, stalls open, everybody else goes and jumps out the stalls, and one horse is left in there, just munching grass, going, no, I don't fancy it today. Jockey sitting there going, go on! Horse going, no, not really, no, not for me.
I love that. Yes, what's your story?
One day I went to the zoo and I was at the monkey enclosure. I tapped 3 times on the glass and the monkey tapped 3 times back.
Do you think if you'd started doing hand signals as well, it would have copied you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very intelligent, monkeys are. I met a little girl the other day who had rabbits, and she had trained her rabbits to go to bed when she said go to bed. So I said, what, like even at 10 o'clock in the morning, if you said go to bed? She said, yeah. They'd take themselves back into their huts and go to bed.
Well, that's what I love about pets. You have the most incredible stories. But if you are trying to write a story, then perhaps you can use your furry friends to give you some inspiration. Noble Warrior's been vying for your attention, by the way, throughout the show. And there he is again in the corner. But now it's time to get your pens and paper ready, because we're about to find out exactly how to draw him.
Draw 2 medium-sized circles. Connect these circles together using lines. Connect your 2 big circles to form the body of the horse. Draw 2 smaller circles underneath one of your circles. Connect your circles with a line. Repeat. Move on to your second circle. Draw 3 smaller circles and connect them all. Give your horse its 4th leg. Add a hoof to the bottom of the circle. Connect everything together. Add a head using 2 more circles. Time to give your horse a tail. Give your horse eyes, ears and a mouth. Don't forget the mane. Step 1. Choose your favourite colour. Remember the word. Step 2. Find your birthday month. Remember this word too. Choose the first letter of your name. Now, put all 3 words together.
And it is as simple as that. But how are all of your pictures looking at home, in the classrooms, or in the audience? Can you put them above your head and wave them like you just don't care? Oh, you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Look at that, and that's just in 4 minutes. Imagine how long you could actually take. We'll do tweet yours along with your names to @PuffinBooks using the hashtag #ClareBouldingShow. But we couldn't end today's show without a trip to the races. And this next bit is going to be really quick. So you all need to listen up because there are a few special moves for you. If I say in this particular excerpt, we'll call it a commentary that I'm going to give you. If I say any of the horse names, you have a special action. So if I say right-hand man, you wave your right hand. If I say left in the dust, you wave your left hand. If I say thunderclap, and if I say noble warrior, noble, you touch your nose. Is that okay? So everybody, on your feet. I'm going to go and get myself my props here. So I've got a microphone, I've got a very special hat that I'm going to wear, courtesy of Clare Boulding. In fact, Claire, what is the significance of this hat?
Those are Noble Warrior's colours. So the green and gold on the front cover of the book are the green and gold of his actual racing colours in the book.
The actual, okay.
Yes.
So I've got to do a good job here. Okay, so we'll do a quick practice. Right-hand man, left in the dust, noble warrior, thunderclap. You've got this. Okay, 3, 2.
Are we going like jockeys?
Oh, yes, okay. Shall I get into position? Okay, here we are. 3, 2, 1. And we're off. On your marks, get set, go. I should have done that bit at the very start. It doesn't matter. We're off. Lining up at the front, we've got right-hand man, noble warrior, left in the dust, thunderclap, thunderclap. Right-hand man is off to a fast start, but is it too fast? Noble warrior is hot on the heels of left in the dust. Left in the dust is keeping ground. Left in the dust is angling and running around the middle of the course. Thunderclap. Thunderclap is back. Right-hand man is coming very wide. They're away from the rest of the field. They've got 3 furlongs to run. Left in the dust veers towards the rail, hampering noble warrior. Thunderclap. Thunderclap. Just a fun thunderclap. Wide and late, very, very, very fast. Noble warrior is gaining ground with every stride. Half a furlong to run as he might get it. Oh no, right-hand man is closing. No, it's noble warrior, right-hand man. Wait, it's thunderclap doing the right-hand man in the lead. No, noble warrior is coming forward to hit the line. It's thunderclap, thunderclap, thunderclap. Over. Give yourselves a round of applause. And sit back down. I'm a little bit faint. I'm not going to lie to you there. Well, if you want to find out if Noble Warrior and Charlie win in the race, you'll just quite simply have to read the fantastic book that is The Race Horse Who Wouldn't Gallop. Well, that is all we've got time for today. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret. Now, Claire's actually very much under the weather today, but she said there is no way that I could come in and not give every ounce of energy. There's no way I could miss this for the world. So can we give Clare Boulding a massive get well soon cheer and round of applause? Thank you. Thank you, Clare. You can watch this show again on demand, and don't forget to sign up for our Christmas special with the star of McFly and children's author, Tom Fletcher. So from all of us here in the studio, it's time to say a massive goodbye. 1, 2, 3, goodbye!
There is nothing, nothing, nothing like a puffin, nothing like a puffin book to read, yes indeed. A puffin's so exciting, it's the finest kind of writing, yes a puffin's just the kind of read you need. Well there's so much in a puffin, it's full of super stuffing, quite enough to keep you happy all day long, all day long. So for boys and girls who are needing some extra special reading, all you've got to do is sing this puffin song. There is nothing, nothing, nothing like a puffin, nothing like a puffin book to read, yes indeed. A puffin's so exciting, it's the finest kind of writing, yes a puffin's just the kind of read you need.